The Seaport District of Pier 17 brought to you by Chase, and this is the menu. It is time to get up with Dak and Dallas. When the competition got tougher, they got worse. How about them Cowboys? Are they in trouble? Plus, did you stay up late watching football last night? If you did not, you are not going to believe what happened to Mahomes and the Chiefs. Full highlights are just a few minutes away. And was this the worst moment of the NFL season in every conceivable way? And could pieces of it have been prevented? That conversation and much more in this hour of Get Up on ESPN, which starts with the Cowboys and the Packers. Maybe the most anticipated game of the season to this point. And Dallas would start badly and get worse. They're already down 14-0, Dan, when Dak Prescott does this.
Yeah, it seems like Dak was throwing this ball no matter what. Never saw the underneath coverage off the play-action pass, and he drops out underneath Randall Cobb. He had Zeke wide open in the flat for an easy completion.
That was the second of his 3 picks on the day. So now it's 17-0. And I'll tell you what, Rodgers was the second best Aaron on his own team yesterday. Jones waves bye-bye.
Hey, he called it. He said he was going to match run for run with Zeke. Actually, he did better. 4 touchdowns.
Spectacular yesterday. That is correct. 4 touchdowns for Aaron Jones. And then on a 1st and 10 for the Packers, this turns out to be a very important moment in the game, okay? It's an incomplete pass. We're going to get flags. Anthony Brown is going to be called for pass interference. Jason Garrett makes the enormous mistake of challenging this. If there's one thing we've learned, Rex, they're not going to overturn
They're not going to overturn it. So why challenge it?
It's a mistake. Of course, the call stands, and the Packers have a 1st and 10. This will become very important in a minute. First, though, let's show you on a 2nd and goal for the Packers on the 1. That's Aaron Jones again. As mentioned, his 4th touchdown. First player ever to rush for 4 touchdowns in a single game against the Cowboys. They're up 31-3. Now, under a minute to play in the 3rd. Here's where this becomes important again. It's 31-10. That's Amari Cooper, who was brilliant yesterday. This is clearly a catch. They rule him out of bounds. That's 1 foot. That's the other foot. Jason Garrett's upset because he has to use his 2nd challenge to challenge it. He slams the flag down and the ref doesn't like it. They call him for unsportsmanlike conduct. Apparently, he used language that the official was uncomfortable with. Jerry Jones had this thought.
Oh, I hope the little darling didn't hear something he hadn't heard before.
That's the best right there.
You like that, Rex?
I love it. And come on, rabbit ears.
You ever use foul language with a referee?
Never.
Don't answer that. Here we go. Amari Cooper. I told you he was brilliant. 11 catches, 226 yards. Cowboys are back in the game. It's 34-24. Now they're driving on a 3rd down. They have no timeouts left. They're down by 10. They need points, and then they need an onside kick. This is a 3rd down play, Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, this is a really bad play by Dak. It's either touchdown or throw the ball away and conserve that timeout. They end up getting a 5-yard gain and then the attempt at a field goal.
And the field goal is the problem. They still would have had a chance with an onside kick, but they miss the chip shot. It's from 33 yards away, and that's all she wrote. The Packers hang on and win it 34-24. So the Cowboys, with this great start, have now lost 2 in a row.
I can say that, sure, we might have sniffed ourselves a little bit too much, and that's why I said we take these last 2 games, and especially this one, and say, hey, we probably needed that.
Rex, you don't like it, do you?
No, Dan, you and I talked about it before. They're coming off a loss.
A bad loss, yeah.
A bad loss. And they're sniffing themselves. Maybe there's a huge problem right there. Hey, dude, we know you're going to get paid a lot of money, but just focus on the one game. And I love it. Everybody, well, we needed this. What? Nobody needs to get their butt kicked, and you just got it kicked. So to me, it's like, come on, man. You grow up and move on.
Let's talk about the Cowboys for a minute here, right? The world was singing their praises, and justifiably so. They beat 3 bad teams to start their season. They step up in competition. They lose to the Saints in a game in which their defense doesn't allow a touchdown, and then they were beaten much more soundly than the final score would appear yesterday against Green Bay. Where are the Cowboys right now?
Well, your phrase, step up in competition, is huge right now. Because right now the Cowboys they're still a really good football team. Let's not override that. A lot of credit goes to how the Packers played. But the Cowboys right now are led by a quarterback that does not show up in big moments. We saw it in the playoffs last year versus the Rams, and we've seen it the last 2 weeks playing really good football teams, that when he is asked to be the difference maker, the guy that takes the team and they win because of Dak against really good football teams, he's not the guy. Winning teams, 5-9 the last 3 years, 24 touchdowns, 18 turnovers, 40 sacks. Last night, he threw for 0 yards on 3rd downs. Quarterbacks in the NFL are judged by third down, red zone, 2-minute drill. He threw for 0 yards on third down.
And let's not confuse the conversation. This is not about whether or not he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid.
Right.
The conversation is about just how good he is or isn't. Another person who was getting a lot of credit for their fast start was their very young offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. What do we say of him now?
Well, Kellen Moore is come down to earth as well. And what it was, look, everybody wants to give him a head coaching job after 1 or 2 weeks. And this is a long haul. This is a young guy that's going to get better. You know, he's got flashes. But, hey, look, man, I thought Mike Pettin would expose him a little bit, and he did. He challenged him. Here's how you challenge a young coordinator.
Yes.
You present things that he hasn't seen. Can he make adjustments? Dan, you talked about it earlier in the show. He had something going, and he went away from it.
Yeah.
Young guys, they don't understand. They're just doing this. Brrr, I'll run this play.
Sure.
You know, and I'm sorry, it doesn't work. By the way, wear a hat, dude. You look 15.
I do think, like, listen, the Cowboys have had their struggles, but we got to give some credit to the Packers,
Yes.
right? Like, this is a really impressive win by Green Bay, and we've talked about, well, Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur, and Aaron Rodgers last night, Aaron Rodgers reminded us a little bit of the guy that we've always fallen in love with year after year for the past 15 years. I would say he had plays last night that he saved that Packers offense 80 yards, 100 yards. I mean, look at these plays. Like, he's about to go down here. That has gone from a 10-yard loss to a 20-yard gain. His ability to make some of these throws when under traffic, I'm about to get hit, 3-yard, 7-yard loss becomes a 15, 20-yard gain. Like, these aren't plays that he just saves them from negative yards.
Right.
Last night, he saved them from negative yards and then also gave them huge gains.
Oh, by the way, at 31-3 in that game, and they did this without Devontae Adams and all the rest of that. So the question then becomes, right now, do the Packers look like the best team in the NFC?
Well, Greeny, this week, yes. But here's the thing. All season we've talked about Dallas has looked the best, the Rams, the Saints. And it goes on and on. Seattle, who's it going to be next week? I don't know. But right now, it's impossible not to recognize the Packers in that light.
All right, so going into yesterday, a lot of people would have said, how about in the AFC? The Chiefs are probably the best team. And then, last night happened.
And here come the ponies. We pick things up, Chiefs, Colts, in the second quarter. The Chiefs trailing 7-3. It's the second quarter, and they only have 3 points. What's Mahomes here? Runs, avoids defenders, done a little bit of everything. This is why he's so dangerous, Dan.
It's like a shotgun on his right arm. Just the awareness to kind of evade the rush, get out of the pocket, make somebody miss. It's 3rd and 18, so I can be a little creative, turn the corner, and then do what you're not supposed to do. Throw across your body down the middle of the field. But when, again, you have a howitzer attached to your shoulder, you're good. Incredible play.
How about Pringle hitting us with the Macarena, too? There's a whole generation of kids that will never know how annoying that song is. Game tied at 10 now. Mahomes to DeMarcus Robinson. But what's more important about this one, he comes up limping. Uh-oh, if you are Andy Reid. Right, Coach?
Yeah, now you're not going to be the genius. You know, I mean, that's the thing. Look, I'd be an offensive genius if I had this kid healthy at quarterback. But it is a big loss. And obviously, when you can't move, that's part of his game, the way he creates. Now he's not able to move.
You see that ankle heavily wrapped up. 2 minutes left in the third quarter, pocket collapsing, no one to throw to.
This is brutal for a quarterback. Like, when you get that 300-pounder pushed back into you and then stepping on your ankle, that is a brutal feel.
That's already hurt.
That's already hurt. The Colts were serving his lunch all night long, but they finally get something going here. Mahomes connects with Pringle over the middle, and then Pringle does the rest.
This is incredible. I mean, we get one of these a game at least from Mahomes where he creates, he does stuff that he's not able to or supposed to be able to do, and a great throw to at least give them a chance on 4th down.
And that's what they needed, a chance. 4th and 1, but Damian Williams gets stopped by the former Chief, Justin Houston. That's a way to get one.
The former Chief, right? Justin Houston has come out and said, I knew the formation they would be in, and I knew the play that they would call. Credit his smarts.
The problem is Mahomes couldn't run naked off of that thing. That allows the defenseman to go crashing down because he was hurt.
Well, here's another problem, right? If you don't want Patrick Mahomes to single-handedly beat you, maybe just keep him off the field. And that's exactly what the Colts did. 37 minutes of possession, which is the second longest by a Chiefs opponent in a game, started by Pat Mahomes. So I don't think there's a reason to panic, right? It's the first loss of the season for the Chiefs. But we started to see a little bit of the luster, some of the veneer coming off the Chiefs week after week. What are some lingering concerns for you?
The biggest concern I would have with this Kansas City Chiefs team is they can't stop the run. And you look at it, 3 games in a row they've given up over 180 yards rushing. That's not good. That can get you beat. That keeps your great offense on the sideline. And how do you fix it? I have no idea, because I watched it on video. It's not just the like I say, the Colts were able to do this, and credit, the game plan, because I thought it was terrific. Stay committed to the run. If the Ravens would have done it, maybe they could have beat them. So I don't know. I just think when you look at it, that's something you've got to fix.
Well, I think health is a big part of it, right? Like they were not incredibly healthy going into that game, Kansas City, and then they got beat up as the game went on. I would say this, like now teams, because Tyreek Hill not there and Sammy Watkins went out early last night, what happened was the Colts decided we're going to play man coverage and we're going to get up in your face and hit you at the line of scrimmage. What that does is it forces the quarterback, like the timing of everything is thrown off. And I have to hold the ball just a little bit longer. And then that gives some time for that front to get home. It's just that extra second where you bang those guys at the line and then the pressure can come from the defensive line. So I don't have concerns. Again, this was just a bad game. They've had 2+ years of great performances. They need to get healthy. And the Colts are one of those teams that do have the recipe. A pretty good defensive line and a dominant offensive line.
Dan,
I'm not concerned about the Chiefs at all.
But you mentioned Tyreek Hill's not there.
Yeah.
It's hard to play and have the courage to play man coverage
when speed like that.
Yeah, who's covering him? So to me,
they just got to get healthy.
Yeah, but I think that concern, what's not going away is that run defense.
And this was still a close game despite all of the health issues and whatnot. So at the very least, Greeny, we learned that at least for 1 week, Pat Mahomes is human.
That's correct. Now let's get to the thing that had, I think, the most conversation around the league yesterday, and that is this moment. Steelers-Ravens, and we'll take you through the game in a moment, but here's the play. On a third down, here's Mason Rudolph trying to make a play, knows he's going to get hit as he throws this ball. Obviously didn't know it was going to be as bad as it was. It's a big gain on the pass to James Washington, but you see the result of it there. By now, I'm sure you've seen this. Mason Rudolph, he was out cold before he hit the ground. He is sandwiched between two defenders. That's Brandon Carr behind him and Earl Thomas hitting him from the front. And you can see the reaction of some of his teammates, including Ryan Shazier, of course, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Eventually, they would bring out a cart. There would be a malfunction with that. There was apparently another cart that was working, that was available. But Rudolph would go off the field under his own power because that's what he wanted to do. He would then go to a hospital due to a concussion. He was released from the hospital last night. We'll have more on that as we go. Let's get to the game here because it is a very important game and there's a very big moment in it with the Ravens down 3, 2.5 minutes to play. This is a huge call. They call roughing the passer, Dan, on this.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, this is another impact to watch. The impact goes right at the waist and then slides down. We can't allow these flags to have the tremendous impact on games that they are.
They're costing games, for goodness sake.
It may very well have cost the Steelers their season because it leads to that tying field goal by Justin Tucker. They go to overtime. Mike Tomlin, who's trying everything since Ben got hurt, defers to start the overtime. And it works. It's the right call. They force a 3 and out. They get the ball back. Looks like they're going to be moving. And then that happens. That is a great play by Marlon Humphrey to punch the ball out from Juju.
I've talked about this guy for weeks now. I love the way he plays. Look at this. This phenomenal play. Not only does he punch it out, he's on his back, he scrambles up, and then scoops the ball up.
And he sets up Tucker again. Justin Tucker from 46 yards away. Looks like it's going to go left, but then it fades back right. And that's all she wrote. And that is a huge win for John Harbaugh's team, 26-23. You look at the records, 3-2 versus 1-4. Think how different the conversation will be this morning if Pittsburgh wins that game. Here's Lamar Jackson. Through 2 games, he was averaging over 20 yards per attempt on throws 15 yards downfield. In the last 3 games, he's come crashing back to earth. Just 4 of 21 with an average of 4.6 yards per attempt and no touchdowns. So a little later in this hour, we're going to set aside some time to talk about the Mason Rudolph injury, the way it was handled, and all the rest of that. Let's talk about the game for a moment here. I just went through the numbers. Are you concerned, Rex, about Lamar Jackson and the way he's playing and the way they're using him?
I think I'm more concerned with the way they're using him. Let's not dial in. Look, you have a special athlete back there right now, but he's not a great drop back quarterback. Let's not try to make him that way. Don't put a square peg in a round hole. And I think that's what they're doing. Their offense is fine when they run the football and then they come off play action with it. He doesn't need to be throwing the ball more than 20 times a game. That's when he's more effective. And that's my concern. And right now, their defense is not playing up to Ravens standards also.
Yeah, guys, they're a one-dimensional offense with a one-dimensional quarterback. I mean, let's be honest. This is the NFL, and Lamar Jackson right now is struggling to throw the football downfield. Does that scare anybody when it comes to getting into October, November, and potential playoffs? No, they cannot throw the football downfield. They did it their first 2 weeks, and they cannot right now. And teams know it, and that's why teams are going, all right, run it on us, because you can't. And we'll give you easy throws, because you can't throw the ball downfield. And that's not going to get fixed. Like, they're in season right now. That is not going to get better by the time we get into November.
But I think we saw even last year when they went on a roll, it was a formula. You've got to stay with it. You've got to run it, and that's what you have to do. If you're going to sit back and drop back all the time as a defense, I want you to throw the ball like that. But here's the thing, the difference between last year and this year, and you know this, Rex, is this is not last year's defense. And so they can't run the ball like that. Absolutely. And, I think that's a concern.
That's a big part of it.
Their big nose tackle's been out, and it's been killing them right now, Williams. But I think when they get these guys back, they got to go back to who they are. Look, they got Mark Ingram. I think is a terrific back. Is playing really well. Let's get back to doing that. And that defense obviously has to come back to form, or they're not going anywhere.
Bottom line, and again, we'll talk more about the Mason Rudolph injury later. If I'm watching that game, the happiest people should be the people in Cleveland, because neither one of those two teams yesterday looked to me like one ready to go the long haul in that AFC North. Okay, we have breaking news this morning. Elle, let's get to that.
We do. The least surprising, maybe breaking news we've gotten some time. That's Jay Gruden fired as head coach of the Redskins this morning. It was first reported by ESPN's Dan Graziano, since confirmed by the team. Team president Bruce Allen met with Gruden early Monday morning at Redskins Park to deliver that news. As for what's going on with Dwayne Haskins, Diana Rossini has more on that.
Well, Bill Callahan is now the interim head coach of the Washington Redskins, and he's also the one coaching the run game on this team. So if he is forced by ownership to play Dwayne Haskins, you got to figure they're going to probably hand the ball off 1,000 times. And what I've learned from talking to the football side of the operation, Haskins is struggling IDing defenses, and he's really having a hard time also calling plays in the huddle. So in terms of him being ready at this point, I'm told he's not. In fact, one coach said to me, not only is he not ready right now, but it should be a year, maybe even 2 more years before Dwayne Haskins can actually be a starter in Washington.
I've got 2 bewildered faces right here, both of you reacting to what Diana said.
I'm going to eat that up. So we had Dwayne Haskins on this show this spring coming in the draft. He blew our minds with how smart he was. So to sit there and say, as coaches, he's struggling to pick stuff up, that was a strength of his. Like, you saw it on tape at Ohio State, and then he did it live for us. So I've got an issue with that. And the second thing is when going, you know what, he's having difficulty calling plays in the huddle. Well, make him easier to say. Like, that's what a coach's job is to do. This is why quarterbacks sometimes when they're young fail, because coaches fail them.
That's a great point. And when you look at it, it's like, it sounds like a coach, whoever that coach was, is making an excuse. I'm sorry, this kid was taken there for a reason. He was considered, everybody thought he'd be the Giants pick at 6. So to me, this guy's got a ton of talent. And let's just focus it around him. Is he ready to, like, he's struggling reading NFL coverages? Okay, him and every other quarterback, young quarterback in this league. I'm sorry, he's going to get better if you play this guy. And to me, protect him. Bill Callahan, I think, will do a nice job. Because will he run the ball 1,000 times? Maybe 999. But what he'll also do is give him an opportunity to be successful and say, listen, young man, if it's there, throw it. If it's not, you're going to check it down. That's what he's going to do. And he'll say, hey, here's this is the route you're looking for. Here's your check down. And that's what he's going to go with. So it's more one read, and that's it. Everybody say half-field read. That's probably what Bill Callahan's going to do.
You know what might be helpful is having a Pro Bowl left tackle. Oh, yeah, they have one, but he won't set foot in the building because of problems within the organization. Look, let's not bury the lead here. Obviously, I get that moving forward is what's important, and people want to talk about Dwayne Haskins. The organization's a joke. It is a joke. It is the laughingstock of the National Football League right now. They're playing the Dolphins this weekend, and I'm not even sure who to pick in a game between one team that's not even trying to win. So let's acknowledge this. The 21 years that Dan Snyder is on that team has been a joke, and this is just a continuation of that.
And the reality is, too, unless you're a head coach that loves Dwayne Haskins, that's an awful job, right? Like, that is not – I know there's only 32 of them, but unless you're a coach that is convinced – and I am, that Dwayne Haskins is a potential star and franchise quarterback, then there's no way you're even entertaining taking the job.
Any team, I don't care what the circumstances are, where the front office is telling you who to play, particularly at the most important position, is a bad job. Right, Rex? It's a bad job. Doesn't matter.
But I'm just saying this. There'll be a million coaches lined up to take this
Why?
job.
Not ones
For that
with options.
opportunity. No, but that's what I'm saying. You don't get options in this league. You'll coach in Alaska. I'll coach in Alaska naked.
I get that, but Lincoln
to get a
Riley may
job.
have
But
options.
Ryan
Lincoln Riley
Day.
ain't going there.
Ryan
Day
Lincoln
may have
Riley's going to
options.
Dallas. So to me, that's what I think is going to happen. But when I look at this, you're sitting back. We're already
Right.
saying this team stinks. Wait, you may have a franchise quarterback right in your building. That's what makes it an attractive job.
All right, I have to go to break here. We have so much, as you can tell, we're very busy, and it's going to continue. Up next, 3 picks for Dak. Cowboys lose their second straight.